March 30th, 2014, Shamanique Flint was assassinated by a CSU police officer on Columbia State University's campus, and his murder has yet to be solved. There's a lot of ins and outs of the story that we've heard from media, we've heard from families, we've heard from the press. Now today, I, Shaquille Brown, within cahoots with Pulse Media, I'm sitting down with Zachary's mother, and we're going to get down to the bottom of everything we always wanted to know about this case. Does she have any questions? Are we any closer to finding justice for her son? And many more unanswered questions. What was that moment like when you found out that your son passed away? That exact moment, can you take me there?
I don't think that I will ever have the words that could accurately describe that feeling when I was called into the family room. And it's like when I walked in there and I saw the doctors in the family room with their heads hung low. They didn't have to tell me why they were calling me back there. It's like I didn't want to hear it because it was unreal. I mean, this is my son, my firstborn son. The child that I carried within me, that I nurtured and raised, that I instilled values in, I instilled love in. A great young man who meant so much to me. I was a teen mother, and I transitioned so much in life raising him. We grew together. So as I began my life, I was a teen mother raising a child, but I became a woman raising a man. And so it's no way that you can tell a mother who has grown with their child, you can say, your son is no longer here. And you know the child you raised, he was a great young man, and there's no reason whatsoever why he shouldn't be here. That he's dead. That I'm here and my son is no longer on this earth. It was like I was in a time warp, if I could say that. It's like my whole sense of reality was altered and reshaped. It was unreal. It's like I had an out-of-body experience. It's like I was no longer standing there, but I was outside of myself, and I was looking at the people like, you gotta be kidding. My son is not dead. And at that point, I was there by myself. My family was on the way to me because I had called them when I got to the hospital and told them what happened to Zachary's, that he had been shot by a police officer. And they were like, what? Where was he? So they were rushing to get to me. And when I got there, they wouldn't let me back to where my son was. They kept saying, they referred to him as a GSW. In medical terms, that's a gunshot wound. Oh, you talking about the GSW. And I'm like, first of all, his name is Zachary's, and where is my child? And they wouldn't let me back there to see him. I said, well, the officers at CSU told me that he was okay. They were just trying to stabilize him. I said, but now you telling me that I can't even go back there where my child is. What's going on? And they wouldn't offer me any information. And I sat in that waiting room 45, maybe 60 minutes, waiting on to find out what was going on with my child. And then you call me back to the family room and tell me that my child is no longer here. He's deceased.
Do you feel that they did everything they could to save your son? Honestly, do you honestly feel that if you've been waiting for 45 minutes, you had no answers, nothing?
I honestly don't know if it was anything that they could have done to save him.
Why do you say that?
I'm not confident that there was anything they can do when he arrived to the medical center to save him.
Do you believe that when he arrived, he was already deceased?
Honestly, I feel that way.
And they were just, and do you feel that they were just waiting or trying to figure out a way to cover it up before they told you? Because 45 minutes is a long time for a mother to be sitting in a waiting room and she doesn't know what happened to her child.
They told me that they were trying to stabilize him. That I couldn't go back there because they were trying to stabilize him. And as I sat there waiting, when I first arrived at CSU, I identified who I was. I pulled up. And they didn't even know my son's name. So the officer that I spoke with, I gave him his information. And I told him who he was, and I told him who I was. And I was trying to find out, you know, why was he shot and where was he taken to? And so the officer was like, well, he told me that they received a phone call stating that Zachary's was seen in the back of a vehicle loading a weapon. They said they chased him, the police chased him throughout the courtyard, and he turned around in a threatening manner, so he was shot and killed, basically.
let's be clear. There is no evidence of this alleged phone call, correct? There is no witnesses, correct?
I haven't been privileged to any of the information. I don't know what proof they have that's out there. That's something that my family hasn't been afforded to all the access to all the proof of what happened that day. There have been several versions of what occurred on that day. There have been several statements released as to what happened that day. But anything tangible, we have not seen that as of yet.
Do you feel that law enforcement has been very forthcoming within this situation? Have they helped your family at all?
My family hasn't received assistance from anybody. No one has reached out to us in any manner. And that's as it goes as far as the mayor, a senator, no congressman. No one has reached out to my family. No one has reached out to my family and even offered their condolences. So do I feel law enforcement has been forthcoming? What I can say at this point, it's been 15 months since my son was murdered, and I'm still no closer to the truth today than I was on March the 30th, 2014.
Why do you personally feel that they haven't been very forthcoming? Why haven't you heard from anyone? Do you feel that the investigation for your child's murder is racially motivated?
The investigation, yes. People have asked me, do I feel like his murder was racially motivated? And my answer to that is that I don't have enough information to make that decision on why he was murdered that day. Was it a case of race or whatever? I don't have enough information to make that decision. But as far as the investigation and how his case is being handled, I believe and I can state that it's not only racially motivated, but it's politically motivated. I do feel like if my family were one of the prominent families in Columbus, Georgia, then I would have seen a resolution by now. Something would have been said within these 15 months. Do I think it's politically motivated? Of course I do. Our DA is up for re-election next year. She knows she has 2 years statute of limitation to make a decision. And she knows that no one can press or make her make any judgment before those 2 years are over with. So yes, it is racially motivated and it's politically motivated the way that my son's case is being handled.
So let me ask you this. Since you said that she's up for re-election this year, that kind of got my mind to going. So do you think that next year, that's when she's going to be all over this case? Your son's case is going to get all of this press, and she's going to be saying, I'm doing everything that I can do for this case to show the people that she's worth an election.
No doubt.
Or re-election.
No doubt. I have had people from all walks of life that I've encountered, and everyone that I meet, I tell them about Zacharias and his murder, because there are so many people, and I'm shocked, in Columbus who don't know what happened here at Columbus State on March the 30th, 2014. They don't know that my son was murdered. They don't know that he was murdered by a CSU police officer. So I talk to people and I tell them what happened, and you know, they said, and this is from African American people, Caucasian people, Hispanic people, they said, well, I don't put any stock into the DA and her decision making. She's not known for making the difficult decisions. They say that there are people in the county who have been there over 18 months and they don't even have a court date. So she's just not known for showing a sense of urgency.
How does that make you feel as a mother? Does that make you feel like you're trying to say, I'm sorry, I have to use this word, but my black son is not as important for you to move on this case? He's dead.
I feel like when you have a instance anywhere in the country, and especially when you're the DA of this city, and you have a case where you have a Caucasian police officer that assassinated an African American male, and that does not warrant a sense of urgency, and you getting down to what occurred on that day, that officer felt like his only avenue to resolve whatever happened on that day was to murder my child, take his life, then what is urgent to you if that doesn't warrant a sense of urgency? I think it's totally unacceptable that it's been 15 months and I have not heard from the DA. No decision has been made, but you can make a statement to the Columbus Ledger on March the 30th, 2015 that you're still reviewing his case. My son was murdered before Michael Brown and Eric Garner. They've already had their cases forwarded over to the grand jury. Decisions have been made. It may not have been the outcome that the families wanted, but they were still afforded every avenue of justice. And that's what my family wants. I'm asking for the basic principle of which this country was founded on. Life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, and justice. I remember as a child reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. It said, with liberty and justice for all. Not liberty and justice for who you decide should be afforded to. So where's my justice? Where are my answers? Where's the accountability? Where's my sense of urgency? What matters to you?